This week, PARSHA Va'era, we have the first 7 makos. So what was the 7th makah? So the pasuk says, pasuk Yudalid, Parak Tes, starts really even on the bottom of the last page. Hashem told Moshe to go, get up early, stand before Paro. So the top of page 336, Ve'amarta I love, you should say to Paro, Koyamar Hashem, so has said Hashem, Elokei Avahoy Evrim, the God of the Hebrews. Shalach Amiv Yavduni, said to Paro, you should send out my nation, V'yavduni, and they shall serve me. Ki bapam hazois, because by this time, in this time, Anisha Leach, I will send, as kol magefosai, all of my magefos. What's a magefa? Magefa is all of my plagues. What?
Isn't a magefa a boot?
Magrefa is a shovel. We'll have to look up how to say a boot. But magefa, just literal here, means all my a hit or a plague.
Magefa and boots.
Could be. Yeah, could be. But here, and here it means a little different. Here it means a magefa, all of my plagues. So here I'm going to send on you magefosai. Magefosai is plural. It doesn't say one magefa. It says magefosai is plural. The yud in the end and the patach underneath it says plural. Magefosai. All of my plagues I will send el libcha, to your heart, uba avodecha, and it will go to your servants, uva amecha, and to your nation, ba'avor teida, in order that you shall know, ki ein kamayni b'chalarz, that there is no one like me b'chalarz. There's no one like Hashem. Ki atah, because now sholachti es yodi, I have sent forth my hand, v'achoischa, and I will hit you, and I have hitten you, I have smitten you, v'esamcha ba'dover, with dever. Dever was the plague, pestilence, v'tichached min aretz. Right. So we just finished. Right. What was the last plague? The 6th plague. Right. What was the last plague? The last one was boils. They just had boils. The one before that was the dever. Right. Dam svadei aktinim arov. They had arov. They had dever. Dever was the wild animals. And here we have, right, after all those, right, dever meant that the 5th plague was that all of their animals died. Right. So that was the 5th plague. And then we had boils. That was shchin. Now he says, I'm going to send a plague on you. I'm going to send all my plagues on you. So it's interesting. What's all my plagues? Why does he say it's kol magefosai? Right. Which he should. It's not all of them. He's only going to send one. He's going to send the 7th. He says, I'm going to hit you and everyone ba'dover, with a type of plague.
In all my plagues.
Right? And he says, v'tichached min aretz, everyone will be destroyed from the land. So what is he talking about here? So let's see Rashi. So Rashi says, see Rashi over here, the first line down, Yudalid, and Rashi, the first column, the first line. It's called magefosai, all of my plagues. So Rashi's bothered by the problem that Hashem's not going to send all of his plagues now. He's only sending one. We're up to the 7th one. Everyone knows what was the 7th plague?
Hail.
Right? Oh, right. Irving, what was the 7th plague?
We just said it's the hail.
Right. It's supposed to be hail. The problem is, here, it didn't say that in the pasuk.
Just all my plagues.
So all my plagues. So Rashi says, Labadnu mikan. We learn from here, Shemakas bechoros shekula keneged kol hamakos. We learn from here that makas bechoros was equal to all of the makos. That's Rashi's coming to answer. Why does it say all of my plagues I'm going to send you? He's not going to send all of them. He's only sending one. The barad. He's only sending the hail, the fire, and the water, and the ice. So Rashi says, you're right, but it's going to be so hard that it's equal to all of the plagues. It's all of them put together is equal to this one.
But aren't we still on number 7? Why is he bringing down the firstborn?
No, I think he's referring
Who
to...
says the firstborn yet? Where does it say the firstborn?
He's referring to all from 1 to 6. It's going to equal the wrath of the 7.
So far Rashi didn't say that. Rashi didn't say Makas Bechoros. Where do you see Rashi? Which Rashi?
14.
Let's read Rashi inside. Oh, so Rashi says Lamadu Makas Bechoros Shekula Keneged Kol Hamakos. So it's interesting here. So Jonathan actually was unbelievable. You hear that? He's unbelievable on the Rashi. He chapped the Rashi. Rashi doesn't just say all the makos. Rashi says that we're not even talking about the seventh makkah. Although we're up to the seventh plague now, Rashi says makas bechoros is equal to all of the other makos. So Rashi says we're not even talking about borrowed now. We're talking that the makas bechoros was equal to all the plagues.
But why is it even brought down?
So Jonathan says,
still on 7.
Jonathan says, but this is the wrong place to do it. You should have waited till we're up to number 10. And at number 10, then Moshe should come and tell him, I'm going to come and I'm going to give you a plague which is going to be equal to all of the plagues. And then he could say he could speak in such a fashion of saying, I'm going to send Kol Magei Faisai, I'm going to send all of my plagues. But right now we're not up to that yet. So we were talking about borrowed. If we're talking about borrowed, then why is it he's mixing, borrowed with Makas Bechoros?
Such a play that makes it equal to like Makas Bechoros.
But the problem is, Rashi doesn't even say that. Rashi doesn't say I'm going to send borrowed, which is equal to Makas Bechoros, which is equal to all of my makos. He doesn't even speak about borrowed. Rashi says, let's read it again. L'madnu we learn from here. Shemakas Bechoros shkula keneged kol makas. That Makas Bechoros, the hitting of the firstborn, is equal to all of the other makos.
So the question is, why is it here?
So why is it here? It's the wrong place. And how does it fit? Why would he tell him about Makas Bechoros when he's supposed to be telling him about borrowed? So it's a very interesting question, amazing question. Irving, what do you say to that question?
Based on the commentary here?
No, based on what you think, just based on your own thought.
No, I would think that he meant that the wrath that the Mitzrayim would feel from all 1 to 6 would be equal what they're going to feel from the 7.
Right, but the problem is, Jonathan says, but the Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi doesn't say it will be from number 7. It will be from number 10. But we're not up to 10, we're up to 7. So I want to tell you an answer here. One answer is let's look at the Rashi again. Read the Rashi again, and now read it slowly. Depends maybe how you put the vowelization. Maybe you could read the word a little bit different. Because this is asked by a lot of people. This is a very big question. So let's try to, maybe you could read it different, because even in the back of the Chumash, Jonathan, I don't know if you've been looking around, Jonathan asked the Das Akanim's question. In the back of the question there's Tosfos. Tosfos is here in the back. I think the Tosfos asked you a question. You looked ahead already at the Das Akanim Bali Tosfos. Okay, then you just mechaven. Very good. Excellent. Let me just tell you, he said it straight out of here. I'll read it to you so you'll know that he's saying it word for word. Let me see the line. Test your talent. Here, Perish Hazukini, Chizkuni, Lamadu, Makas Bechoros is equal. So, I have to see where he asked it, but there's one answer is that maybe what he means to say is, in the Sifsei Chachamim, on the side of the Rashi, in the New Chumashim, they have the Sifsei Chachamim, right? He's a compilation of all the different Achronim on the Rashi. So they want to say the following. Maybe it's a mistake. And should really say, Makas Bachirus. Maybe you should say Makas Bachirus. What's Makas Bachirus? So he says, or Makas Bikurais. Like Bikurim.
Like the first ones.
Like the first one, the mitzvah. There's a mitzvah of bikurim. What's bikurim? Bikurim means what?
Visiting.
No, that's bikur, bikur. But here it's with a chaf. That's with a kuf. This is a chaf. Bikurim, you give the first fruits to the kohen. Okay. So they bring down the Rabbeinu Tam from Orleans says that it means like from the word bikurim, first fruits. That the first fruits will be hit by the barad. See, because he wants to explain, ki bebarad, by barad, it was hit, the tvua that was bichra. What does it say? If you'll see the end of the parsha a little bit further, it says only what was ripe. Comes from the word ripe, bichra. So therefore, right, you see the pasuk there. It says that that's what it hit. So therefore he says, only the fresh fruits, because the pasuk, look at the pasuk Lamed Aleph. Let's look ahead to Lamed Aleph. Pasuk Lamed Aleph on the next page, right? It says Hase'oira, right? What does the pasuk say? That it actually came down, right? What did it hit?
The flax and the barley were struck.
Ve'apishta, the flax, ve'asayra, and the barley, nukasa was hit. Ki hase'oira aviv. Why was the barley hit? Because the barley was aviv. What does the word aviv mean?
Spring.
What?
Springtime. Or ripe, I guess, in this instance.
Right. This time it says ripe. Exactly. As Rashi brings down, Rashi, the first, let's see Rashi on the, let's go through the whole Rashi. But let's first start with the bottom line of the first column. Rashi says the sayr was aviv, kivar bichra, says Rashi. Rashi says, because the flax was ripe. So since it was ripe, ve'omedes bekashia, so it was strong, it was standing strong, v'nishtabru v'naflu, so only something which is strong can crack. Like, so once it gets to be hard, then it could crack. V'chein ha'pishta, and also the flax, gadla kavar v'huksha, says Rashi, the flax also, it grew and became ripe and it became hard, and then it was able to crack. So he says that's the idea. Hasara aviv, amda be'aveh be'aveh. It stood with its freshness. It was ripe. So based on this pasuk, let's go back to the pasuk saying the flax and the barley, nukasa was broken. Was broken. So he wants to say, based on this whole idea, he wants to say that that's the idea of what the pasuk's saying. He's bringing makas bikurim. It's breaking the fresh fruits which became ripe, the ripe fruits which then cracked, which were broken. All the trees were broken. Because Rashi himself says the word shebichre. Rashi himself says that they became bikur. They became ripe. So they want to read Rashi. The first idea is that Rashi means makas bikuros, the ripe fruits. The ripe ones that were already hard, and then it was able to crack. Because the ones that weren't ripe yet, they, even if the barad falls down, it's just going to maybe bend it, but it's not strong enough to break it. That's the first pshat in the Sifsei Chachamim. The truth is, the problem with this pshat is that you have to change the vowelization of when it says. It sounds like, from the Rashi, it sounds like makas bechayros. Sounds like makas b'chayros, and according to this answer, you have to, that the Sifsei Chachamim is bringing from this fellow, whoever, it sounds like one of the Tosos in Rabbeinu Tam from Orleans. He's saying it's makas bikuros, and he's saying the vowelization has to be with a yud, beis chaf yud, or bachiros, from the ripe ones, and he's learning up. He's changing one letter, so that's a problem to change the letter in Rashi. That's why it's a little bit of a problem. The rest of the pshat is very good. That this is why it's hardest. Why is this the hardest makkah? Because then they're going to have a hunger. It's going to hit all of the trees, all of the fruit. That's why it's the hardest. It says hunger is one of the hardest plagues.
Uh-huh.
And the Rabbeinu Bachai also says this idea. Rabbeinu Bachai says that by makas barad, all of the plagues were included in here because it broke all the trees. And it was also on Behema and Adam, right? What was included? What did the barad hit? So if you look, when it fell,
The servants and the animals.
right, it says anyone who was scared of God, they took all of their serfs, slaves, and all of their cattle, they brought them inside. So that's why it was also very hard, because it hit the people,
understanding?
right? Hit the animals and hit all the fruit trees. So that's one of the hardest plagues.
Is there an understanding why Hashem includes the animals? I mean, he can be so exact in pinpointing from the borderline of a Goshen to the other lands that nothing will hit Goshen. He could also be exact enough to not hit any animals if he wanted to.
That's true. He could have.
But is there an understanding of why the animals were also put through the the discomfort?
No, so it could be it was really a punishment to the Egyptians because they owned it, so they lost their animals.
That's another question. Like from a few parshiot ago, Yosef had all of them sell all their possessions, all their cattle, all their lands, and everything. So now it says there's a new paro and the brothers have passed on. So I mean, it doesn't say, but they started buying back the land from Paro and stuff like that, or else these animals wouldn't be theirs.
Yeah. Apparently, they got more possessions. They had part of the field was theirs still, so they were able to get more possessions and buy new things.
Because it was only the priests of the Mitzrayim.
The priests of Mitzrayim, they weren't included at all.
Right.
But everyone else still had 4/5 of their land, so they were able to make money from that.
I want to ask you something. We know that the Jews left Mitzrayim on the 15th day of Nisan. So the 14th day was the plague of
Makas
Bachoros. So from the time of the first plague, Makas Dam, to the last plague, how much time are we talking here?
So we'll have to go through. It's a calculation of how long each plague lasted. There was a warning of 3 weeks. And then each plague lasted a week. That's basically how much
each
time
plague lasted a week, and then after that plague, then they waited another week.
And then then there was a time. If you want, we could go through. We would have to look it up. We'll go through the whole how long it took. It took quite some time. Yes. Okay, so this is the first idea.
Let me ask you something. When do you know what month the Makas Dam started?
So we could look it up if we.
I don't want you to go through the old 10 plagues, but just if you told me from because it's in the same year.
Yeah, so it could be a year before. We'll have to check up. I have to check up the exact amount. Okay. So this is the first idea that how to answer up the Rashi. Then this is what they bring down in the side of the Chumash from the Sifsei Chachamim. Now, there's another idea that maybe you could say that it means, just to explain why is Barad called, so we explain why Barad is like all the Magefos, right? Why is it called that? So we're saying because all the people were hit who were outside, right? It says whoever didn't fear God and didn't chase their slaves inside and chase their animals inside, they were killed. And the pasuk also says, "Yeherag babarad, gefnam." All of the vines, the grapevines, was hit in the barad. So, and it says that anyone who, there's a pasuk in Tehillim. It's interesting to look up in Tehillim. Let's get a Tehillim. I just want to show you this inside. In Tehillim Parak Ayin Ches, pasuk Mem. Starts by Mem Gimel already. It starts to tell you what Hashem did in Mitzrayim. He did Mofsim. He did miracles. Vayafoch ledam. It says he turned to dam. Yeoreim, their rivers, Vinozleim, and all of their flowing waters. Bal Yishasyun. All of these things, they couldn't drink it anymore. Yishalach Bohem Aroiv. He sent wild animals. Vayaychleim, and the animals devoured them. Tzfardeya. He sent Tzfardeya. Vatashchiseim. And the frogs, they destroyed them. Vayiten lechasil, he brought the chasil. Chasil is the arbe, the locust, right? Yevulam, and it gave them all of the yevul, right? Yevula, all of their food. Yigiyam la'arbe, right? And arbe. Yahareg ba'barad. So here the pasuk says that the barad killed them, whoever was outside. What did it kill? It killed Gafnam, all of their vines, their grapevines, Vishikmaisam, and all of their types of sycamore trees, Bachanamal, with what?
What does lechasil mean?
Chasil is a type of locust. So the locust had that, and then Yaharig Babarad Gafnam. First it says that it killed in the Barad all of their grapevines. That's the first thing. Then it says, right after that,
ושכמותם בחממה.
Right? Then there was a type of maybe locust that was also cut down the sycamore trees. Next pasuk, Vayazger la barad be'iram. And he gave over, Vayazger means he gave over la barad, in barad be'iram, all of their wild animals. Whichever wild animals was outside, so then they were given over to barad and they were killed. So the Egyptians, the ones who were feared God, they would bring their sheep and all their animals into the house. But the ones that didn't fear God, they left it out there. Umikneim l'reshafim, and it says their mikna, their cattle, was given over to reshafim, which is fiery bolts. Right? That was also given over. Bolts of fire. Yishalach bam charoy napoi, and it was sent against them the anger of Hashem. Evra, vazam, vitzara, all these types of anger. Mishlachas malchei royim. So here you see, I'm just showing you how it was a lot. A lot of things were given over to be hit during Barad. So that could be again why Rashi is saying Kol Magei Faisai. All of my plagues were given over. Yishalach bam charoy napoi. We say that in the Haggadah that Hashem sent anger and Evra, all these types of Tzara, all these types of troubles, Meshlachas Malchiram, from the evil messengers. It was like bad things that were happening to them. That's one pshat. Okay, so this is all according to this. The truth is, right, the way you were saying before, maybe you don't even have to change the letter. You could read it Makas Bachurus, right? Is that that's how you're reading it before? Bachurus, then you don't even have to change the letter. That's how they bring it down. You could just, right, they write there. Could be the makas of the bakuras of the fresh, ripe, early fruits. Okay, so that's the first idea, right? That it only hit the makas bakurus. It hit the fresh, ripe fruits, but the ones that were still soft, that it wouldn't break them because they would just bend. The ones that were they weren't so strong. The ones that were strong, they could just break it and crack it. The ones that were still growing, it was like, it was like rubber, so it wouldn't break it. This is the first pshat, how to understand this. This is Rashi's pshat. Now, let's go a little bit, let's see another pshat. Let's see the Ibn Ezra. Gimel, Pasuk of Gimel, the Ibn Ezra says, if you look at what was coming down by Barad, Vayet Moshe es Mateu, right? Five lines from the bottom. Moshe picked up his stick, al Shemayim, by the heavens. Hashem nasan koilos u'barad. Hashem gave out noises and barad. What's barad? Vatihalach eish arza. It says eish, fire came down. Eish came down. Vayamter Hashem barad al Mitzrayim. So you see already that there was fire. That's first of all.
Fire and hail together, no?
Fire and hail
together.
Like pieces of volcano, molten lava.
Yeah, there was barad, but on the other hand there was the ice, hail, but there was fire, and it rained down on Mitzrayim. And the Pasuk of Dalet says further, "Vahi varad va'esh mislakachas b'soy chabarad." The fire was together with the water, with the ice. Now, the question is, how is it possible to have water and ice together, the ice and fire at the same time coming down? Wouldn't it melt it? Wouldn't it melt the ice?
This is from probably the second day of creation, where Hashem separated the waters.
But it should be separated. How's it possible that the fire didn't burn up didn't make the ice melt?
This is where pasuk where we get, let's say, Shalom B'Mormav. No, there's something entitled
similar. It could be. But look at Rashi. I want to show you. Good, you're saying very good.
What does that mean?
Hashem makes peace up above.
I think it has a reference to.
Well, it could be. It could be it had a reference there.
I can't remember what it's referring to exactly, but.
Look at Rashi, second column, second line from the bottom. And here Rashi says that it was a nes b'soch nes. It was a miracle in a miracle. The first miracle was, Rashi says, ha'esh v'abarad me'uravin. There was fire and ice mixed together, me'urav, like mixed together. V'abarad was mayimhu. Barad is really water. It's ice. How could the ice come down together with fire? It didn't melt. How did the ice? So Rashi says it was a nes. This was a miracle, and it was a double miracle. Why did they do it? So here's what Irving said, partially, Lasais Ritzayin Kainam, in order to do the will of their creator, Oisa Asu Shalom Benem. They made shalom in between themselves.
Nice.
Very nice allusion. They had a mitzvah from Hashem, come down, and you should be borrowed fire and water. So the water and the ice is fighting. Usually they fight, they don't go together. Here they made shalom between them because they wanted to do the will of their creator. So there was two miracles here. The first miracle, now it doesn't, the truth is the Mizrahi speaks out that the first miracle was usually fire goes up. Fire, it says that Aish always goes up. It says that certain...
This is going down.
This is going down, right? We know that there are certain midos, certain character traits in a person, which are like fire. We're made up of four parts: fire, water, earth, earth and air. Air corresponds to the talking. People have a lot of, let's say, made up of air, so he likes to talk, maybe things that are not right, lashon hara. What's the water? Water signifies the different pleasures. You could just drink and satiate pleasures. And then there's afar.
Wind
The wind is the air.
Okay.
Afar, yeah. That's the air. Afar means the dirt. That's the laziness. That person is made up of just dirt, and he doesn't have any. He doesn't want to run and jump up to go to learn. So a person is filled with dirt and afrius, chormius, just physicality, and it makes him go down. It makes him lazy, and it makes him depressed. And the fourth part is Aish. Aish is fire. And what does fire correspond to? Which of the
reasons,
natures of the person? What?
Torah.
Like rushing.
The fire is being to go. Fire always goes higher, so it corresponds to the different character traits which go up in a person, which a person tries to raise up himself. Gaiva, to be jealous, to be haughty. Haughty means he's going on top of his friend. He wants to be higher than his friend. He wants kavod. He wants honor. So that's Aish. So Aish usually goes higher. Just like that's the allusion to those different character traits that he wants to raise above his friends. He wants to be better than them. So the miracle, the Mizrahi says, that's why it was a miracle in a miracle. That the fire should go up and the water should go down. But the fire went down. That's one miracle. And not only did it go down, but it was wrapped in the ice, and it made shalom between them, peace, in order to do the will of Hashem. So therefore, that's what the miracle was. That's exactly what it was. So that's what they bring in Sifsei Chachamim. Sifsei Chachamim brings down this Mizrahi that it should go up and went down. Okay, that's back and forth. They go into this whole idea. But now you know at least what it was made up of. So on that, now let's go back to this idea here. It says the Ibn Ezra, so Kol Magei Fosai means I'm sending all of my plagues. I'm sending fire. I'm sending ice, right? He's sending here. There were numerous things. That's what the allusion of Rashi, of the pasuk. He's arguing on Rashi. He's saying it does refer to Makas Barad. It does refer to the hail. But the reason why the verse says all of my plagues is because it referred to a lot of different weapons that Hashem sent down, right? As for example, what we said here, all these things, right? Ibn Ezra saying it had the fire, had the, right? What else do we have? Fire, water, hail,
Thunder.
And thunder. There were kolos. There was loud noises.
The death to the people and animals, and destruction to the crop.
Right. So according to that, that's a whole different idea of what it means. Kol magei faisai. And he brings down that they were very scared of this makkah.
It says here, by this plague, this is when Paro accepted it, that it wasn't Moshe being a magician also.
By this plague.
Yeah.
Right. Why? Because this plague, since it had people died, animals died, crops died. So therefore, right, that's what he's saying, that Paro was so scared, this was like the worst. This was all the plagues, all these different types of plagues put together. So that's why, as Irving brings down, Irving's bringing the pasuk, that the pasuk says in pasuk of Zion, that Paro called to Moshe and said, Chatasi hapam. If you see the next two psukim, pasuk Chavtes, verse 29, it says, verse 27, Paro said, I have sinned. Hashem is a tzaddik, and me and my nation are wicked. So here why all of a sudden by this makkah, this was the first plague where he said that. So the Ibn Ezra says that's because right here he was so frightened because of all these different plagues which were incorporated into Barad that he got so frightened, and therefore he said, Ani va'ami harishon, me and my people are the wicked ones. This is the Ibn Ezra and the Rashbam's pshat, as Irving is bringing it down. Very nice, beautiful, very nice.
Irving read it here.
Very nice.
Is this when his heart is hardened, that he has no more control of his, like...
It was, I think, by the sixth plague that his heart was hardened.
No, each one is hard.
Yeah, but the first, they say the first few, he had his own free will.
Oh,
But
okay.
after that, then
So
already...
when does he have no free wills, on the sixth plague?
Yeah, I believe so. We could check it up. We'll see inside. We could look it up inside. I just want to read you one more idea from the Orach Chaim. The Orach Chaim says, similar, he says that now, Kol Magei Fosai means that now it hit him. All of the first plagues, they all gathered up, and now it hit him like a ton of bricks. The first 6, he was able to take them. But now that he saw from hail, from the Barad, now he saw that the first 6 were also from Hashem. So it was like he was hit with all of them like a ton of bricks. That's the Orach Chaim over here. Orach Chaim, we'll read this. Kol Magei Faisai. He says, that it doesn't mean all of them, but it means the first 6. Now the 7th one came, and what happened? Because you could believe that maybe it was some type of magic. So Paro didn't really believe that they were from God. You could say maybe it was some type of black magic. But now, finally, when he saw this Makkah, this time, so then he saw it wasn't magic anymore. Rather, it was straight from Hashem. So that's why it says Magei Faisai. It's referring to all 6. That since this was so wondrous, this couldn't be done by magic. You can't do this in magic. So therefore he said to bring down fire from the sky together with water and bring it down and not go up, that is impossible to do. So therefore the first ones were all put on hold now. Now he said the first ones must have been from Hashem also.